C'est good. On peut aller.
On commence-tu ou correct?
Oui.
OK. Ouverture de l'Assemblée, modification et addition de l'ordre du jour, il donne-tu?
Moi j'avais un ajout à faire.
OK. À quelle? Dis-nous, on va la placer à quelle place?
C'est du 14.2 ou
14.
13.3?
On est à 13.3. Ouais.
13.3, ok.
14.3.
C'est
13.3.
13.3, excuse-moi.
patinoire filet.
Pardon?
Patinoire. C'est toujours de la patinoire.
OK. Il n'y en a pas d'autres? OK. L'adoption de l'ordre du jour, proposeur.
Karina.
Simon?
Oui.
Oui. Richard? OK. Tout le monde en faveur?
Oui.
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 Adopté. On s'en va au numéro 4, déclaration des conflits d'intérêts.
Oui.
Oui.
Je les laisser sur
Elle
mon
est
bureau.
ici, parfait.
C'est tout? C'est fait?
Oui.
OK. Son numéro 5, adoption des procès-verbaux des réunions précédentes. 5.1, réunion extraordinaire du 25 janvier 2021. Proposé,
Simon.
Stéphanie, Simon. Question?
Non.
Tout le monde en faveur?
Oui.
Adopté. Ça, on va à 5.2. Réunion publique du 25 janvier 2021. C'est la même chose.
Non.
Si.
Moi, c'est
OK, correct. Non, c'est une réunion publique. OK.
Je propose.
Richard,
Karina.
Karina, question?
Non.
Non.
Tout le monde en faveur?
Oui.
Oui.
Adopté. On s'en va au numéro 6. Délégation. Monsieur Gauthier, bonne soirée. Il est embarqué encore?
Oui.
Bonne
Dans-
soirée.
Est-ce que t'entends, Gérard?
Il me regarde, mais il répond pas.
OK, ça va couper un petit peu, mais là, c'est correct. Là.
Bonne soirée.
OK. Bonsoir à tout le monde.
On va le voir ici.
J'essaie de voir.
Oui.
Gérard, la parole va être à toi.
OK. Tu m'entends, là, Luc?
Ben, ici,
Oui.
Luc.
Oui.
OK, parfait. Fait que, vous avez tous les documents avec vous, je pense?
Oui.
Oui.
Oui, OK, parfait. Fait que, donc, on va regarder le plan d'audit pour l'année 2020. Il me semble qu'on vient juste de se rencontrer pour les états financiers de 2019. On est déjà rendu à 2020. Fait que, ça passe vite. Côté des normes comptables, il n'y a pas de changement pour cette année. Le prochain changement, on va le voir un petit peu plus tard, mais ça s'en vient dans 2 ans. Fait que, cette année, ça va être les mêmes normes que l'an passé. Si on regarde la page sommaire du plan, qui est la page 1 ou la page 4 de 23, ceux qui l'ont électronique.
Parfait.
OK.
Ça commence avec sommaire en haut. On voit à côté gauche les risques importants. Fait que quand on fait notre planification, on regarde tous les postes ou les lignes à l'état financier. Et pour chacune des lignes, on a 7 ou 8 risques différents. Fait que là, pour chacun des risques, on doit dire si c'est un risque faible, un risque élevé ou un risque significatif. Fait que sur le côté gauche de la page sommaire, on vous présente les risques significatifs. Fait qu'on a identifié 5, puis c'est les mêmes 5 risques que l'année passée. Que vous étiez tous là l'année passée, fait qu'on ne les passera pas nécessairement tout en détail. Mais il y a les contournements des contrôles par la direction. Ça, c'est la direction pourrait décider de faire une écriture de journal ou quelque chose pour modifier les chiffres sans tenir compte des contrôles en place. Fait que là, on doit faire des procédures pour s'assurer que ce n'est pas le cas, mais c'est toujours fait par échantillonnage. Fait qu'on n'a jamais une garantie à 100% que s'il y a eu quelque chose de pas correct, qu'on va le trouver en faisant notre vérification. Ensuite, on a la séparation des revenus. Fait que ça, c'est s'assurer qu'ils sont enregistrés dans le bon exercice. Les réserves, c'est pour s'assurer que s'il y a eu des résolutions ou les montants prévus au budget, ça a été comptabilisé dans les livres, puis s'assurer que tout ce qui a été comptabilisé dans les livres a été approuvé également par le conseil. Ensuite, on a l'exhaustivité de certaines catégories de revenus. Fait qu'on prend un revenu spécifique, Puis on va faire des tests pour s'assurer que, ou essayer de voir que tous les revenus qui auraient dû être enregistrés ont été enregistrés. Puis le dernier, c'est les estimations de la direction. Je ne crois pas qu'il va y avoir de montants importants cette année. Quand on va commencer la vérification de fin d'année, on va regarder. Puis si jamais il y en a des montants, mais là, on va passer un peu plus de temps sur ces risques-là. Mais normalement, il ne devrait pas avoir de montants importants là, mais on le met toujours au cas. Parce que vu que c'est des estimations, ça présente un risque plus élevé que d'autres éléments. Côté droit, on voit le seuil de signification. Fait que ça, on prend un pourcentage de votre budget, puis là, on a calculé un montant de 150 000. Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? C'est qu'en théorie, il pourrait avoir une erreur de jusqu'à 150 000, puis on pourrait signer notre rapport de l'auditeur. Mais en pratique, on ne laissera pas passer des erreurs de ce montant-là. Puis même avec Luc, là, quand on découvre un petit montant ou quelque chose, c'est toujours ajusté. Il essaye d'avoir les chiffres le plus précis possible. Là, fait que, il n'y a pas d'erreur qu'on laisse non corrigée. Mais ce montant-là sert aussi à déterminer combien de tests qu'on a à faire. Fait que là, on arrive dans les dépenses, mais on utilise ce montant-là, puis là, on fait une formule mathématique, puis ça nous dit combien de tests ou combien de factures qu'on doit retracer. Après ça, en bas, vous voyez un montant de 7 500. Fait que ça, toutes les erreurs qui seraient non corrigées de plus que 7 500, on va être obligé de vous le présenter dans notre rapport de fin d'exercice quand on va représenter avec les états financiers. C'est sûr, s'il y a une erreur de 100 $, c'est non corrigé, mais je ne pense pas que vous voulez le savoir, là, mais rendu à 7 500, là, ça commence à être plus important. Fait que c'est pour ça qu'on vous le divulgue. Et on va à la page suivante. On parle des risques de fraude. Ça, c'est la même chose que l'an passé. C'est sûr, on change nos tests d'une année à l'autre. Fait qu'il y a toujours des nouveaux tests qu'on fait. Ben, il y en a que c'est les mêmes, puis il y en a certains autres que c'est nouveau. Fait que, pour essayer de voir que s'il y a quelque chose qui serait fait, mais qu'on ait des chances de tomber dessus. Ensuite, au niveau des honoraires, c'est un montant proposé de 42 000.
C'est une fraude, ça?
Non. Non. Après ça, à la page 3, on parle des risques d'audit importants. Fait que ça, c'est les risques qu'on a vus tantôt. Vous voyez, le modèle il est un petit peu différent de l'année passée, mais c'est les mêmes choses qu'on va tester que l'an passé. On va passer par-dessus ces pages-là. On va aller à la page 7. C'est NCA 540. Ça, il y a une nouvelle norme en place à propos des estimations comptables et des informations afférentes. Fait que ça, c'est des choses qui ont rajouté, mais dans nos procédures des années passées, on les faisait déjà, ces procédures-là. C'est juste que là, c'est rendu dans les normes, ça fait partie des normes, mais on n'aura aucun travail additionnel à faire par rapport à ça. C'était juste pour vous informer qu'il y avait une nouvelle norme d'audit qui était mise en place. Ensuite, à la page suivante, on parle avec les communications avec les membres du conseil. Comme à chaque année, on vient vous présenter le plan d'audit. Pendant qu'on va faire la vérification, probablement qu'il y en a un d'entre vous qui va recevoir un appel, puis un membre de mon équipe qui va vous poser une couple de questions par rapport à la fraude, si vous êtes au courant de quelque chose ou si vous avez remarqué quelque chose durant l'année. Et même si vous n'êtes pas la personne choisie pour cet appel-là, si vous pensez qu'il y a quelque chose ou quelque chose qui vous rend inconfortable, vous pouvez me contacter. Puis, on peut faire des tests si nécessaire par rapport à ce que vous pensez ou ce que vous avez vu. Vous allez voir un peu plus loin, mes coordonnées sont là, si vous voulez me contacter. Ensuite, à l'annexe 1, on va plus en détail dans la démarche d'audit. Si vous avez des questions, vous pouvez les demander, mais c'est présenté là à titre d'information. Si vous avez de la misère à tomber endormi après la réunion, peut-être commencer à lire ça, puis vous allez tomber endormi plus rapidement. Ensuite, à la page 11, on parle de différents contrôles qu'on teste, des contrôles informatisés. Cette année, c'est sûr que la vérification à cause de la COVID, ça va être fait à distance. Fait qu'on a des outils pour transférer l'information entre la municipalité puis nous. Fait qu'on a un site web sécurisé. Fait que les échanges d'informations sont toutes faits sur ce site-là. Puis c'est ça, là, en haut de la page 12 qu'on parle de Deloitte Connect, c'est cet outil-là pour faire l'échange de documents. Ensuite, l'annexe 2 à la page 13. On a une liste de 25 items qu'on va vous rapporter dans notre rapport final avec notre rapport d'audit. Fait que, on va reprendre chacun de ces 25 items-là, puis on va avoir une conclusion ou dire est-ce qu'on a trouvé quelque chose ou non par rapport à cet item-là. À chaque année, on a toujours une liste comme ça qu'on doit vous rapporter. Ensuite, à l'annexe 3, c'est l'équipe d'audit. Fait que, il y a l'adjointe qui est nouvelle, mais les autres, c'est tous des membres qui étaient là depuis plusieurs années. Puis, vous voyez, là, il y a mon courriel puis mon téléphone. Fait que si jamais vous avez à me rejoindre, mes coordonnées sont là. L'annexe 4, c'est les nouvelles normes de comptabilité qui vont s'appliquer dans les années futures. Comme je disais tantôt, il n'y a pas rien cette année. Ça va aller à peu près dans 2 ans pour les nouvelles. Il y a la norme SP 3280 en bas de la page 17. Il y a l'obligation liée à la mise hors service d'immobilisation. Ça, si vous rencontrez certaines normes, là, il faudrait tenir compte des coûts, exemple de démolition. Si on parle d'une bâtisse, mais il faudrait tenir compte de la démolition lorsque la bâtisse ne sera plus utile pour la municipalité. Là, il va falloir regarder chacun des actifs importants puis voir est-ce que la norme s'applique ou non. Puis on va pouvoir déterminer. Là, on dit que ça entre en vigueur pour les exercices qui commencent le 1er avril 2021. Fait que là, vu que c'est après notre fin d'année, ça va s'appliquer seulement pour votre 31 décembre 2022. Ensuite, il y en a quelques autres, là, mais ça n'aura pas beaucoup d'impact pour vous. Puis ensuite, l'annexe 5 à la page 20, c'est différents sites sur le site de Deloitte où est-ce que vous pouvez aller chercher de l'information, si vous voulez, sur certains sujets. Si jamais vous cherchez quelque chose et que vous ne le trouvez pas, mais juste me contacter, puis ça va nous faire plaisir de trouver s'il y a quelque chose qui répond à vos besoins. Je ne sais pas s'il y avait des questions. C'est ça qui faisait le tour de notre plan d'audit pour l'année 2020.
Il y avait des questions.
Moi, j'ai pas de questions. Moi non plus. Merci.
C'est beau.
Ça va être bon, Gérald. Merci.
OK, merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Bonne fin de rencontre.
Merci.
Merci.
Bonne soirée.
Oui, vous autres aussi.
Ça prend-tu un proposeur pour appuyer ça ou... Non. OK.
Non, c'est juste des questions.
Ça, qu'est-ce qu'il vient de présenter là, c'est comme l'année passée quand il est venu, là. Il a fait son présentation.
Chaque année, ils font ça, oui. Ça vous donne la chance à vous autres aussi, si vous aviez un sujet spécifique que vous voudriez qui attarde puis faire plus de vérifications, mais vous pouvez le contacter pour l'adresser.
OK.
Dr. Paul n'est pas connecté encore, d'après ce que je peux voir.
Moi, j'avais 17
On
heures.
continue avec numéro 7 d'abord.
Tu avais réponse à ça?
J'avais 17 heures quand j'ai demandé, oui.
Ok.
Fait qu'on va passer les... on peut continuer avec les...
Numéro 7.
numéro 7, oui.
OK. Adoption des recommandations du comité du conseil municipal,
Il n'y a pas rien.
proposé par Stéphanie.
Non, il n'y a rien.
Il n'y a pas rien.
Il n'y a rien.
Oh, il n'y a rien. OK, très bien. 8. Réception des rapports mensuels des membres de l'administration. Il n'y en a pas.
Oui, les rapports des membres d'administration, oui.
Département.
OK.
Département de feu, on peut commencer. Bryce, just got on time there. Ouais.
On va commencer avec le département de feu, OK?
Mais Bryce, il vient de...
On va. Bonsoir.
Allô?
Bonsoir.
On ne le reconnaissait pas.
On va commencer avec ton département.
Oui.
Et décembre, numéro 5 calls. Avez-vous des questions là-dessus?
Non.
Non.
OK. On s'en va avec staff changes, new hires. Questions?
Oui.
Oui.
Price.
Oui, ça va, madame?
Patrick,
Ça va bien?
oui, ça va bien. Patrick a pris sa retraite.
Oui, Patrick, puis sa retraite.
Puis c'est écrit ici, recognized for loyal years of service.
Yes.
C'est quoi que le recognize? Y a-tu
Ben, ça s'est fait à l'interne. Nous autres, on a fait une plaque pour lui.
Ok.
Comme qu'on a fait pour M. Séguin, quand il a pris sa retraite l'année passée. Fait que c'est une plaque juste en disant qu'il a fait X nombre d'années.
Ok.
On lui a aussi donné son casque de pompier. On a demandé à tous les membres de le signer. Puis on a remis son casque de pompier aussi.
Ok. Puis lui, il était capitaine. Son poste a été remplacé?
Non,
ou...
pas encore.
Pas encore?
Non.
Ok. C'est tout, merci.
C'est un des autres points à détester. Ça serait pour combler les postes de dossiers qui sont vacants.
Ok. Merci.
OK. On continue avec training seminars. Questions?
Non.
Et on va avec l'autre page. Maintenance. C'est des questions?
Non.
OK. So on va équipement, vehicles, buildings. How, on the paging system, how's that working? Have they got it, is it, like there's been problems before with it? I speak of Bearcom, but have they kind of got it all figured out?
So they are working on it. Yes, it is getting a little bit better, like slowly but surely getting better. Yeah, the paging system is actually not bad. It's actually up and functional. It's the radio system that is having some issues, just because our territory is so vast. There's a lot of things, a lot of trees and things like that, and blocking radio transmissions. So the newest project, well, I guess file right now, is they're looking at installing repeater systems on vehicles. And that's kind of at the county level right now. They're discussing that with chiefs and the radio lead, which is now Monsieur, it's the Clarence Rockland chief, the newly appointed Clarence Rockland chief, is now in charge of that file, I guess you could say. So he's kind of leading the way on that. Wasn't Monsieur Voisin? He's now leading the way on that, and that's the next step for the radios. We will need repeaters on at least some of the vehicles. And repeaters are just, it's basically another antenna that you can put on that helps bounce transmissions from the vehicle, as opposed to having to go back to the headquarters. I guess the tower's in Hawkesbury, but we have a lot of trees and things in the way, so according to them. So, so basically it avoids having to go to Hawkesbury, hit the antenna, and then come back to the radio. Like two individual radios, like if I want to radio someone over there, it has to go to Hawkesbury, bounce off the antenna, and go to that individual who might be in the basement of a house, which is just not working for us or for anybody for that matter. So a repeater just means that it can go to the truck and to the other radio, as opposed to have to go all the way back to Hawkesbury. So they do work quite well. We use them in Ottawa with all the concrete buildings and things like that. Ottawa was having a similar issue with them, and they've installed repeaters on most of the vehicles, and it has made a big difference.
So with all this new system, you still have communications between the three fire trucks, let's say they're on the road?
Yeah, the mobiles are not that bad. So the mobiles are the ones that are installed in the trucks. They just basically have bigger antennas on them because you can actually physically put a larger antenna on the vehicle. They work relatively well.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the portable radios aren't as well. I mean, there's a lot of regulations with portables too, because they're basically on the person.
Mhm.
So you, as far from a health and safety standpoint, you basically have it's regulated. You can't have like a huge antenna, because that would be over 10 years, probably kill the person. So yeah, it's there's much stricter regulations on portable radios. So those are the ones that can't be quite as strong, quite as large naturally. So a repeater system will help that issue.
Okay, any questions? Any other questions on that subject?
Tantôt.
Okay. OK. Avez-vous d'autres questions sur les calls?
Pour le mois de décembre?
Oui.
Moi, j'en ai pas.
Avez-vous d'autres questions? Bryce?
There's a second report. Hein.
Non?
Il y a,
Just 2
il y a un
months.
deuxième rapport parce
Oui,
qu'il
je sais.
y a 2 mois de
Ok.
rapport. OK. Ouais.
Avez-vous des questions? Bryce, do you have any questions for us while I'm filing through this?
In general, or?
In general,
Yeah.
it's your time to.
Yeah, well, I guess I have two points to address. One, well, maybe 3 points to address. One would be, I just got back from a meeting with Battle Shield, who was one of the companies that submitted for the new rescue. There's a little bit more work that's going to have to be done before I can make a suggestion or a proposition for one versus the other. So Lafleur Industries and Battle Shield Industries are the two companies that put forth a submission. We sent out five tender requests, and we received two positive replies. So yeah, that's not really a question. That's just kind of a point that there's a little bit more work to be done. Basically, what we sent out is a very good product, but a very expensive product, which is kind of the way it goes. You always kind of put out something, you kind of aim for the stars kind of thing. You put out as much as you can, and then you kind of see what you get back. So there will be a little bit more work to do with each company, communicating with both of them to just see where we can cut costs and things like that. So my meeting with Battle Shield today went very well. I haven't had a meeting with Lafleur yet, but Battle Shield is very local. They're in Embrun. So from a distance standpoint, they're very close, very easy. They're very accessible for us to go see, to visually see what they're doing. Not to mention that they're part of Prescott Russell, and naturally it's in their best interest to want to give us a quality, it's in anyone's best interest, but it might be a little bit more in their best interest to give us a quality product, just because we have to work with them. I go to meetings with that department in Embrun. A lot of the firefighters that work in Embrun actually work for that company as well. So, and yeah, so that was just the point I wanted to share for that.
Okay. We'll just take a little break. We have a
Okay, right.
connection with the doctor.
Sure.
Absolutely. Then we can return to. Yeah, absolutely. If you'll bear with us. Okay.
Hi, Dr. Paul.
Hi.
So I put my laptop so you can see all the council. I
Yeah,
don't know if you see
I see
them.
them all. Yeah, I see them.
For better or for worse.
Robert?
I don't recognize the mayor. That's the only thing. I don't recognize the mayor. I don't know who that mayor is.
Okay.
Maybe that's just as well, eh? Anyways, thank you, Kurt. Thank you for taking this time to meet with us, and maybe we have a few questions for you.
Sure.
Maybe you can do your presentation and we'll save our question for after.
That
Yeah,
sounds good.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you share, am I allowed, have you given me screen sharing properties?
Okay.
Somebody allow me to share the screen?
Let Amy do that.
I was going to do a quick visual and talk a bit about, what the latest of what our area has, and then I'll finish it off with the vaccines and open it up to questions.
See if you can share now.
Yes, I can. Thank you. Yes, I can. Thank you.
It's all new stuff for us. We're learning as we go.
Yeah. Okay, so I am sharing right now. So again, thank you for asking me to present. Can you see the screen?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Good, thank you. So thank you very much, everyone. And again, it's I wanted to meet all the councils. I have, as you know, I have weekly meetings with the mayors and CAOs, enforcement officers. But I also thought it would be important at this point to give you a bit of an update of where we are with COVID, what our region is facing, And then some of and with vaccines, I'm sure you're getting a lot of questions. So it just gives me an opportunity to be able to give you the information directly and answer some of your questions as well. So let me start. I'm just going to give you sort of the provincial perspective. Is I really want to share. Hold on, I'm just going to. I want to reshare my screen. So I'll start provincial and then I'll go local, just to give you a bit of a easier way of doing it. Okay, here we are. So basically, you can see, sort of over. This is the last one that we have here. I'm gonna go to this one now. This basically shows you the numbers that we've had in the province. I'll go this way. Yeah, so you can see this with a lot of squiggly lines in it. Basically, I'll ask you to actually I want to do this one, which is the latest one. This one here. So this one here, you could see Eastern is down here, and this is the gray line, and you could see. If you go backwards, this is the most recent one that we have, and that is cases per 1 week per 100,000 residents. And you can see the whole province was very, very high. This is the red zone really is where we start worrying about cases. And really in this territory up here, your gray zone lockdown, as you know. So, orange, yellow, and then control, which is red. And then above, anything above 70 or 80, you're really in lockdown zone. So you could see that starting around, so for the health unit here, you could see this little dark line here. Starting around here, December 5th or so, we started to go upwards. We peaked around January 6th, 7th, which is about 2 weeks after Boxing Day, and then we started seeing, a downward trend down to here. And so this is sort of our latest one. I have some other data to show you about today, where we are today. But just it goes to show you the whole province was up. And you could see other like Peel, you could see sort of Toronto, like really high up here. And in terms of our numbers, we, again, looking at the numbers of, I don't want to get that out of there for you. So looking at the numbers where across the province, where this is our health unit here, and again, 40 is red. So anything above 50 to 100 is considered gray zone, and above that is lockdown, right? So you can see that the Eastern Ontario Health Unit was quite high, among the highest, certainly the highest in Eastern, and among the, very high among the rest here. You could see Toronto and the other areas. Windsor down here was high as well, 286. But you could see that we even Ottawa was much lower than we were, and this was when it's the peak of this, when I talked to you about it around the beginning of January or so, and that's quite worrisome. And but you could see our sort of surrounding area was very, very low. And then if we proceed sort of moving forward here, then more closer, this is as of January 17th. You see slowly you started going down. This is as of January 21st, started going down again, 114, going down to 94, which is the 24th. As of the 28th, we were at 71. Then we were at 67 in the end of January. Then we're at 57, which is kind of the last one that we had. So we were at 57. That was as of February 4th, and we have gone down a bit. But you could see Ottawa has already gone into the orange zone here, if you could see, and you could see that Leeds Grenville is yellow. Everything else here is green, and that's why they're opening this week. And I'll explain a bit about that later. And you can also see provincially we're starting to go down. Those big bubbles, those big numbers are going down, but there's still relatively a lot of cases in the Ontario, in the GTA area, Toronto here. Our numbers every week we're going up, every day we're going up by 4,000 provincially. Now they're about 1,200 today, which is good news. Our hospitalization rates peaked about a couple of weeks ago, and now they're starting to go down. Had we not had the lockdown and restrictions that were imposed on December 26th and then increased as of 4 weeks ago when we did the complete shutdown, had we not had that, we would have filled up our ICU capacity by the middle of February. So that's why we took those measures. And so I'm just going to go to the other slide now to show you the latest data for us. And this one. Yeah. So so the good news is that the numbers are starting to go down in our area, and you could see that right now we have 2,500 cases, and I'll show you how that drastically increased as compared to when we were going in, we started in September, October. We have 23 patients that are hospitalized, none in the ICU. We have 63 deaths in our area, most of which are long-term care, including Résidence Prescott Russell. We had deaths at the Pinecrest home in Alfred Plantagenet. We also had deaths in Woodland and in Lancaster as well. So and that's what's been going on. It's been terrible, the effect of COVID virus on these individuals. We have 12 outbreaks going on right now, and that's a good number compared to what we had last week. We're like 19 or 20. And then we've administered a lot of vaccines, and I'll talk to you about the vaccines a bit later. But I just wanted to show you kind of the trajectory and how the cases grew. Look, so you could see going into like August, September, we were at a total of like 300 cases totally in our area. And, boom, we just went up to 2,500. I mean, we almost went up tenfold from August into where we are now. You can see there was a sudden increase, between November, December, and January, and now we flattened off. And this is around the time, and this is the effect of the lockdown here that we're seeing. If you look at, other, sort of ways that we went up, you could see our months, how we went up progressively, and January was really our worst month in terms of numbers. One of the things that I just wanted to show you as well is your area. So we're talking Hawkesbury East. Up until very recently, we had literally one case in Hawkesbury East, but now we've got 4 active cases and 7 total. But you can see we had a lot in Hawkesbury. We had a lot in Prescott Russell initially, but now it's kind of switched. We're getting more and more cases. We had more and more cases in the area. Cornwall, for example, when we started the summer into the fall, had barely 35, 40 cases, and now they went up to 689 total with 66 active. Akwesasne as well went up a lot. So it switched. We got more in SDNG and less in Prescott Russell. But you could see there was, around the Ottawa area, a lot of these areas here, we had a lot of cases. And like I said, in your area, now we've got 4 active. We've had a total of 7. So it's low, but we still had cases. And again, up until very recently, we had 1, if I'm not mistaken. So that is how it looks like. Now, if we look at the rolling average, and this is where we look at the 7-day average per 100,000, and if the dark orange line here is the East Ontario Health Unit, and we're up in the 100 range. If you're up in the 100 range in January, and we were really high up in Cornwall. We had a lot of cases in Cornwall, and they're all starting to go down. And you could see the latest one. We're basically at EOHU was at 35, Cornwall's at 41. So we're really about we're in the between orange and red zone here. And that's important because I will be talking to you about, the measures that were made today. And so the measures that were done today are going to effectively, those areas that I showed you that had no cases, which is Kingston, Hastings, and Renfrew, are going to go back into green zone. Which means they're going to have some little restrictions, but and so their economy is going to start to open up as of this week, and their stay-at-home order will be removed as of this week. For health units like ours, we're slated to go wherever we land by tomorrow. Let's say whatever the number is here tomorrow, we will be that coming next week, the day after Family Day, which will be February 16th. At which point, February 16th on, we will be able to open up the economy very slowly into either red or orange zone. That means if the red zone, there'll be more restrictions. Orange will be less restrictions. However, I want to be very careful. There might be some additional restrictions. We're waiting for the government to tell us, because the additional restrictions really will make a difference as to how we deal with this new variant. As you've heard, there are variants of concern. There are these are mutations of the virus that have occurred, and up until very recently, we haven't had any in our area. We've only had cases outside of our area, but we've had them in Ottawa, we've had them in Toronto, we've had them in Kingston, and these variants are the virus has changed, and it actually becomes much easier to spread. So, and as a matter of fact, 1.5 times more easy to spread than the original virus. It's not more dangerous, and the vaccine gets it, so it's not that's okay. However, what happens is if there is a bit of a lapse, so with the other virus, you really had to be close contact, for at least 10-15 minutes, and the virus would get you, it would spread. This one, it's even less. If you have a little bit of a couple of minutes, go very close to somebody, you might get it much more easily than you would have had the original virus. So although the virus is not more dangerous, it's the same amount of deaths and so on. If more people get infected quicker, because this spreads more easily, then more people end up in hospital, more people end up dying, and that's what the worry is at this point. So that's why it's going to be very important that we maintain physical distancing, masking, and all these things moving forward, because this virus, I call it's the unforgiving virus. If you step out, go a bit closer than you should, you might not get away with it. You may have gotten away with it before, but not this time. So it's very important for us to maintain that. The government knows that. We've told them that you got to go slow when you open up, because you can't just open fully. So we're going to be going to these, like I said, either red or orange zone, probably orange zone, which to me is a bit more than I would like it to open, because we do have, for example, they'll be able to play hockey. They'll be able to do all kinds of things in orange with restrictions. But I just find it a bit abrupt to go into it. But that's why there's going to be some other restrictions where we don't have them all. But on the other hand, we're allowing the businesses to open, and hopefully with a bit restrictions. But at least now that the retail, particularly in the rural area, it will be able to open. And that's as of next Tuesday. Note that between now and Tuesday, it's status quo. We're still under lockdown. Everything is closed as it was before, and we're still have that stay-at-home order. All these things will change as of next week. The government will reevaluate it, looking at the data tomorrow, and then they will announce where we will be next week. But I anticipate we'll be in orange, unless we get numbers that are worsening, which I hope not. The other thing too is, we were the top 6 or 7 health units in Ontario with numbers. And it was, just to give you an idea, in one weekend, sometimes we had 144 cases in 2 days, which requires a lot of work on our staff. We have to call contacts and all those things. And just to give you a comparison, over this past weekend, we had 13 cases. So it makes a big difference. We're seeing it go down. It's good news for us. But again, we can't be complacent, and we can't leave our guards down for a bit, because this new virus, although it's not in our area yet, it's just a matter of time until it comes. So overall, it is good news, and I'm grateful for your municipality and all of the other municipalities, all the communities, for having adhered to these. We know that it's painful. We know that the economy suffers. We know that it's been a year now, almost, to the day for us. We started our COVID journey actually the weekend of Family Day, because as you know, Cornwall I received 250 passengers from the cruise ship in Japan and quarantine at the Nav Center. So I've been doing this for almost a year now with our staff, but we all are tired. But I think we have a good light at the end of the tunnel. So we have a bit of good news, cautiously good news because of our numbers. You saw how drastically they went up and now they went down. But now we have the vaccine. And so I think to me, that's the game changer. I know that we've had some struggles with getting it. It's a matter of time until we're flooded with a vaccine. I can tell you what we have done, though, and I'm very happy to report that we have received enough vaccine in our area and have vaccinated all residents in our long-term care homes. First dose, and as a matter of fact, we are now starting to do the second dose because the Pfizer vaccine. There's two types. The Pfizer vaccine has you need 21 days apart, and so we were using that one, and we have and that one is hard. That's a -70 freezer. We have one at the Hawkesbury Hospital that stores our vaccine, but we are able to now have done all of our primary our long-term care residents. We did some of the staff and some of the visitors, but we stopped because, as you heard, Pfizer cut back on vaccine supply. And but we continued. We did all the long-term care, and we've done at least 8 or 9 retirement homes. I think including the one in your area as well. The one in Saint Eugenie. I think we did that. We've done that already. First dose. And so we're continuing to go. We're continuing to vaccinate because those are the people that are suffering, that are hospitalized, and that are dying. And we're going to protect those. We're going to protect them as quickly as we can. Our next phase, and then at the same time, we're starting to do healthcare workers. Our next phase will be to do elderly outside of the homes, of retirement homes. A letter will come to your municipality the day after tomorrow, asking you for some help. Perhaps as we ramp up to vaccinate everybody, we're going to be in that position to start vaccinating more and more people. But we're starting with groups that are high risk. But I'd be very happy to do, like I said, all of the individuals living in the congregate living, the elderly in congregate living, and then the elderly living outside, living at home. People will start with 80 and over, 75 and over, 60 and over. I want to do those. Once we've done that population, I will breathe easier, I'll sleep better, because I know that we've vaccinated and protected the most vulnerable, and then we're going to just roll it out and roll it out. And by that time, it'll be March, April. We'll have millions of dosages. More vaccines will be on the market. We'll be doing mass immunization clinics, mobile clinics, drive-through, whatever it takes. Send EMS to people's homes. We're going to do it all to get as many people vaccinated as possible. We'll be reaching out to you. Perhaps we could use one of your community centers if we need a mass immunization clinic. Work with some of your staff to do that. So count on us calling you because we want to get it out there quickly and blanket vaccinate as many people as we can. The quicker we do it, the quicker we'll be able to live normally, go back to normal. And that's not going to happen until at least summer, fall. But at least as we vaccinate the more vulnerable and the more people vaccinate, the looser the restrictions can be. But between now and then, we still have to wear masks. We still have to socially distance. And we still have to wash our hands and do screening and all these other things. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and we virtually are holding it in our hands. We have vaccine. There was a bit of a shortage, as you know. We've received 3,000 doses already. We're finishing our last supply. We're not getting a supply this week, but next week, the 15th, I'm getting 3,300 doses, and the following week, I'm getting 4,400 doses. So we'll be starting to vaccinate more and more. Then we're going to start, as soon as we do the elderly and the healthcare workers, we're also going to be reaching out and doing first responders, essential workers, and so on. There's a whole protocol of lists that we'll be doing. But for now, we were struggling because we didn't have enough supply. We wanted to, the ministry was changing directives. But as we get more vaccine, we're going to be working with you to, as quickly as possible, vaccinate as many people that want to get vaccinated and are eligible. By the way, this vaccine is only for adults. We don't have indication for children. It'll be people 18 years of age and over. And that's my presentation. It ends on a positive note, but it also ends on a request that you spread the message that there is good news, but we need to adhere to all these measures, at least for the next couple of months. And the more we adhere to them, the quicker we get out of it. And now that we're reopening the economy next week, people need to know that if there's any hint that, we're getting the numbers going up again, we're going to be locked down right away. That was a promise that the Premier made today. So, Mr. Kirby,
Yeah.
Mayor Kirby, I leave it up to you for any questions or any comments.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, for that presentation. I got a couple of questions, and probably council do too. On a senior's home, and we'll assume that a worker in there has the virus,
Yeah.
okay? The other workers, how are they handled?
Oh, we first of all, we do a contact tracing. We go in and ensure, see who work with the other worker. We will test everybody. We'll do testing for everybody. We'll have protocols for everybody. We'll isolate people who have been in contact can't go to work until we test them. So we have a whole protocol in place for that.
So let's say that so-and-so's been tested, okay?
Yeah.
How often do they get tested after the incident has been identified?
Okay. First, once it depends on the situation. We go into the homes depending on how many people are on outbreak and so on. But if on routine right now, if it's a retirement home or a long-term care home, now we'll be testing them a couple of times a week. We have the new test that's going to come